Sites, just olenderconsulting.com. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to show all 5 sales rep names using a BAQ. You think it'd be straightforward, but I found it to be a little challenging. So let's get started. All right, so here I'm in the Epicor education database, and I'm going to launch the BAQ query. There we go. I'm going to do a new BAQ, and we'll call this, I'm just going to call it sales order head 1. I don't know why. Sales order head 1. Okay, make it shared. Alright, so if we go into the query thing here, I'm going to start with the order head because this is the scenario that came up. I believe there's some other tables, either quote or invoice, where I think Epicor has helped us out with this field, the sales rep field, but in order head you don't really get any help. So alright, so I added the order head. Let's show company order num. Let me sort alphabetically, and then let's find the sales rep list. All right, so let's save that. Let's do a quick analyze and test. There's our company, there's our orders. Now, I've already gone in and put in a sales order that had a sample, and here you can see this sales order, 5372, has 5 salespeople associated with it, but these are codes, right? These aren't the names of the salespeople. So the question is, how can you show those names? And that's what we're going to do. So, and this is just one possible solution, just to kind of give you a little heads up here. There may be others, and if there are, please add comments and let me know if there's another, and I'll update the video. But this is the one I came up with, and it seems to be working. So, like I said, if you got a more efficient way of doing this, please add some comments. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is add a subquery. And I'm going to say add an inner subquery. And if we go to the phrase builder, I'm going to add the sales rep table, right, as a subquery. And then on this table, I'm going to display the, I'll take that off. We'll go to company, sales rep code, and the name, because the rest I'm not really interested in right now. Alright, so we'll save that. Let's see, let's rename this to sales rep 1. Then we'll save it. And then I kind of like renaming this to top level, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of subqueries. Just kind of helps keep things organized. All right, so I'm back at my top level. I have a subquery for the sales rep. Let's go back to the top level. And to bring that in, you turn on this little checkbox, the subquery checkbox, and there's our subquery that shows up. So we're going to join this with just the company fields. And then what we'll do is we'll filter this using an expression. So here I've highlighted on the link, and I'm going to say let's join company to company. And just so you know, this is from the sales rep table, and this one's from the order head table, right? But I also want to change this to all rows from the order head. So I want every I don't want to exclude any records because there's not a salespeople, because that is a possibility. You could have a record with no salesperson. And if this was an inner join, then of course that record would be excluded. So so you don't want to do that. So so we want to go the outer join to the sales rep. But the sales rep right now is kind of wide open, right? I've only associated the company table. So what we're going to do here is we're going to apply criteria to this guy. And I'm going to click on New Table Criteria. And I'm going to say sales rep code, right? That's one of the 3 fields that we picked for the sales rep subquery, is equal to, and here's where the trick comes in. You want to go to expression. You could try using table. I started doing this thinking, oh, I'll just grab it from a table, but you're kind of limited with what you can do there. So this needs to be expression, at least for what I'm doing. And you probably noticed down here there's an option for subquery, right? So if you had done this in another subquery, you might be able to filter the parameter up, right? You look up rather than looking down. But this is the way I've done it, and it works. So I'll show it to you. And then, like I said, if you got a better idea, please don't be shy. All right, so we're going to go to the order head. I'm going to sort alphabetically just so I can find my sales rep list. Where are you? Sales rep list. Here we go. Now, here's the other trick. And I want to thank Mark Wansel and John Kane for this on the E10 help site. They showed me that this entry thing is that this is what we want. So by putting in 1, you're saying I want the first element of this array, right? If you look at what it says down here, returns a character string entry from a list based on an integer position, right? So I'm saying I want the first element of sales rep list, and then I don't want a comma. I believe this is called a circumflex. That's what Epicor uses, in the list. And so I'm saying I want the first element of the sales rep list. So we'll say okay to that. Let me save this. Let's go back to display fields now. Again, I'm still at the top level, right, just to show you. And you can see my subquery shows up now. So I can bring over this name, and I'm going to rename this to Sales Rep 1. Save it. And then let's analyze it and test her out. And then let's change the sort order here because we want to verify that. And there we go. There we go. There's our, sales rep 1 is tied to Penny Lane. Lane is the first code, right? The first sales rep code. So that's really what the query looks like. Pretty simple. To go to the rest of them, that's what that would look like. So it gets a little wordy, right, because you got a bunch of joins here, but it's really the same thing over and over again. The only difference is for sales rep 2, you're going to, for the criteria here, you're going to change this to element 2, right, the second element. And for this one, for sales rep 3, you're going to go to element 3. So make sure to use outer joins, otherwise things aren't going to display properly. You could be limiting yourself to the records and stuff. But when you're done, it's going to show up. There you go. So I've got all 5 names, not codes, but names. And just to let you know, this record up here, I set up a record with no salespeople just to make sure that would show up and that would not get excluded, right? Because when you're using arrayed elements, sometimes that you want to make sure you don't miss the 0 if it starts with a 0, or whatever. And so in testing, I created a sales order that had no sales rep. I also tried to mix up the sales rep, saying, well, what if you have a sales rep and sales rep 1, 3, and 5, or what if you have a 2 and a 4? But you can't do that. Epicor doesn't allow you to do that. They have to be sequential. So yeah. Anyways. So that's basically it. Hopefully this helps out. I know this had me scratching my head for a while. You'd think that I would have run into this, and I have, but I've dealt with it more at the SSRS level, right? Once it got to a report, then you could strip things out, you could split things up, and I think it's easier to work with the logic. At the BAQ level here, it's a little more challenging, a little more difficult. So because not all of the functions that you would like to be available are available here in the Epicor environment. So that's it. If you, I guess, have any questions, please don't be afraid to give me a call. Shoot me an email. It's just dolender@olenderconsulting.com. I think you can see it here, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. So thank you for watching.